c'est la gloire. Le cheminement de la réussite. Of pushing yourself further than ever before. But the true glory is in the shadows. Les sacrifices que tu fais. Quand toutes les chances sont contre toi. When you can't push one more second. Chase the glory. Visez haut.
U-Sports on CBC, les championnats U-Sport, brought to you in part by, vous êtes présenté par Nike Team Just Do It, faites-le. Baron, exclusive supplier of U-Sports championship rings. Le fournisseur exclusif des bagues de championnat U-Sport. Fox 40 celebrating a decade of the Fox 40 U-Sports Coach of the Year program. Fier partenaire des prix de l'entraîneur de l'année U-Sport depuis 10 ans. By Veraburn, proud medical supplier to university sports since 1979. Fier partenaire du sport universitaire depuis 1979. The Government of Canada. Le gouvernement du Canada. Et par Mikasa, l'étoile montante du volleyball, le V200W, ballon officiel de U-Sport. And by Mikasa, makers of volleyball's hottest star, the V200W, the official volleyball of U-Sports.
Well, the storylines and the stories could have been written a number of different ways this weekend. A clash of Alberta teams, the hometown McMaster Marauders in the gold medal. Not too many people have the Sherbrooke Vert here in this position in the gold medal game. They are the 4th seed, and they are facing one of the best programs, if not the best program in Canada, in the Trinity Western Spartans. It is the gold medal game for the U-Sports Men's Volleyball Championship. I'm Steve Clark, along with Kyle Como. What a moment, what a game we expect to see, and what a story both of these teams have written.
Been an outstanding weekend of volleyball here at the Burridge Gymnasium, and as you mentioned, Steve, just seeing the two teams that did clash here in the final, a 3 seed and a 4 seed, but as we mentioned, the seeding not necessarily indicative of the quality of volleyball that these two teams can play. Trinity Western has been here time and time again. They are one of the premier programs in North America, and they're taking on the Sherbrooke Vert, who've had an outstanding weekend here in Hamilton, and they're going to be led by Yoann David and Zachary Alonze. Going to be those that will be swinging on the left side here for Sherbrooke, and the offense being run by Jonathan Portalance. And again, looking over at the Trinity Western side of things, a number of attacking options. Again, such a deep attacking team when you consider the likes of Brody Hofer, Matthias Elser running the offense, 43 assists yesterday. Jesse Elser with 15 kills and hit at 323. And Henry Rempel going to be pivotal in terms of the success of Trinity Western here today, hitting out of the right side. He had 12 kills in yesterday's semifinal victory against the McMaster Marauders. Again, the champions out of Quebec taking on the runners-up out of Canada West. Should be a great battle between these two sides.
You know, let's focus a little bit again on that first semifinal yesterday with Trinity Western beating McMaster. Their serving came through at the most important times of that match, and that's something Sherbrooke will have to look out for.
Trinity had a tough opening set in terms of their serving. They had 8 service errors, but really calmed down from the service line the rest of the way. They have a number of guys that can go right back and just rip on a ball and put the defense under pressure. Service pressure going to be pivotal for Trinity Western, and Sherbrooke knows that that's going to be coming back the other way. And we'll see how the serving can play a factor in the game here as we start off with the opening set.
Sherbrooke had just 8 service errors in their 3-set victory over Alberta. It was their consistent approach with the odd uptick to the big serve that helped them.
Very much so. They're a very disciplined team, very skill-oriented group. Kind of focus on the fundamentals, aren't necessarily going to sort of throw a lot of creativity or a lot of pace in a number of different spots, but they've got guys as well that can go and swing away at the ball. We mentioned Yoann David and Zachary Alonze. Yesterday was spectacular as the P2 for Sherbrooke. going to be a key piece to look at here in terms of whether or not the set volume continues to be so high for Sherbrooke. They only ran the middle 13 times yesterday, Steve, in terms of the total attacks, so they didn't establish the middle a ton, but they didn't have to with the way Yohan David and Zachary Alonso were swinging from that left side, and I imagine those are going to be key pivotal members of the Sherbrooke attack here again today. But again, both of these teams have been spectacular all weekend. We should be in for an exciting final between these two sides.
Sherbrooke hasn't dropped a set in this tournament. In fact, the closest they've come to losing a set was when Alberta got 21 points in the third set last night. For Trinity Western, they dropped one set. They dropped the first set against McMaster before their power game took over. These have been the two best teams all weekend long, so it's only fitting that they do battle here. Trinity Western dressed in the white with the blue, the green and gold of the Vert or, and we're just about ready to go. Great crowd here at McMaster, Kyle, as they've been all weekend long. It's practically a sellout.
Been fanfare all weekend. Been outstanding to see the support here in Hamilton as you get a look at some of the fans there who have driven all the way from Sherbrooke to cheer on the Vert or here in the national championship game. One other person I wanted to mention from the Trinity Western Spartans was Corey Schoner. He was spectacular. He had 7 blocks at the net. Didn't have the greatest game serving yesterday, but it was spectacular at the net and pivotal as to why they beat McMaster.
Elliot Collar gets us underway. Jesse Elser can't complete the kill. It's dropped over, and now here's an opportunity. The brothers Elsa combine to open the scoring. Matthias to Jesse.
Jesse Elser getting the set to the outside of the block and able just to get the roll shot to come down the line. Stays in, finds a way to stay outside the block. Always has the potential to swing hard cross, but Elser with a change of pace comes down the line with a roll shot there, and they're off and running.
Opened last night with an ace against McMaster. Opens tonight with an ace against Sherbrooke.
And we mentioned the serving pressure, and Elser is the catalyst behind all of that. High spin on the serve, able to find that seam in between 6 and 5, or maybe 6 and 1, coming across back the other way. Great serve by Elser.
Spin serve wide this time, and Sherbrooke gets on the board.
Elser trying to change up his serve location that time, may have just hit to the outside on the right side of his right hand, and trying to cut it back across, gets a little bit too much side spin on it, and it goes well wide of the court.
Jonathan Portelance to serve for the Vert AOR. Good pounding serve. Elser into the crowd, and it's going to go to Sherbrooke. It was a nice try by Rempel. 2-2.
Rempel with a high forearm set coming to the outside off the first contact. Makes its way over towards the Sherbrooke fans in the stands. And Rempel trying to bring it back over. Does a great job getting it all the way across to the pin. Just goes a little bit too far and unable to make the adjustment. Was Hofer at the net.
Here's Portelance's second serve. Float serve is in! And it's an ace for Portelance.
The up official did call it out. The down official points it in for sure, but the up official makes the call, Steve. But the point is going to go to Trinity Western. But see, the down official was right there to make the call. The flag did point in, but the up official overrules. It's a service error instead of the ace.
So back it goes with Corneille. Short set in the middle, and Julien Vanier flexes his muscles.
What a way to start there for Vanier. They run the middle. We mentioned that they didn't run the middle a ton yesterday in their win against Alberta. Really establishing it here. What a great set into the middle to Vanier. He tees off on that ball and finds the floor.
LaPonce, that one is going to go long, and both officials agree, and 4-3 now for Trinity Western.
Yeah, I didn't get the spin on that one that LaPonce was looking for. It gets a little bit too flat, and the pace on it goes the length of the floor and goes out of play. Service error, point goes back to Trinity Western. 2
aces last night for Matthias Elser. That time he is long, and we're all tied up at 4. And again, we saw this last night. It sometimes gets a little bit of the nerves out when you're serving in particular.
Yeah, it definitely can, especially early on in the match when the lights are brightest and the fans are starting to stay active and engaged in the game and really excited for the final. Just a little bit too much out the back there from Matthias Elser.
Vanier gets it in okay. Short set, Schoner! And Schoner picks up where he left off last night.
Just a spectacular set from Matthias Elser, though. Good pass on serve receive. You can see drop set inside shoulder a little bit, able to press up with the left hand. able to lead Schoner to the inside so that he doesn't get jammed up in his approach. Great swing on a full loose contact there by Schoner. Finds the open floor. They're in the lead.
Brody Hofer, big serve, and another big serve. Coming to the other side was Portalance, but in vain, and Hofer saved his best serving for the important parts of last night's game.
Certainly did, and Hofer, again, going to be somebody that's going to establish that serving pressure here for Trinity Western and put the really strong serve receive in the defensive game of the Sherbrooke Vert to a test here.
Big serve, great diving play made. David goes off speed with the roll, kept alive. Sherbrooke wanted a lift and it wasn't called. They'll set it up. Johan David, and it's blocked. Jesse Elser got up there.
Great timing on the block that time from Trinity Western to close out to the outside. So we might need a little maintenance here for Johan David. Maybe he's got contacts that may have come out after the ball came across on the block, but and Trinity Western was looking for, Sherbrooke were looking for a lift call in tight to the net. But the rally does play itself out, comes back over. They have an opportunity to earn the point with the attack, but the Trinity Western block comes across and closes, drops to the open floor, and the point does go to Trinity Western, is again trying to get the contacts fixed up here for Johan David.
They want to try and get it fixed up on the court so they don't have to sub out their outstanding second team All-Canadian. Great start, though, by Trinity Western as, again, they continue to flex their muscles and establish their dominance and style of play.
Such a high, aggressive, and hard-hitting team that and try to get everybody involved. Again, we saw Schoner with the attack out of the middle. We've already seen Hofer and Elser getting involved, and now just waiting to get Henry Rempel involved from the right side as well. They are such a tough team to defend against, with Matthias Elser's ability to find and get everybody involved when running the offense. But Sherbrooke has that same capability. We mentioned how frequent they were setting the left side last night, but again, they get David and a number of rotations on the right side as well, so he's going to be swinging from all over the court. Again, it's going to be a good battle between these two sides.
David has his contact lens problem fixed and a spicy serve. Great job by Leponce. And now it's set up again for Trinity Western. Schoner in the middle. 8-4.
Great cut that time by Schoner as the set was coming in a little bit tight. It's maybe indicating he was going to cut himself around the block that time, but he's able to allow it to come back across his body and cut towards the left instead of the right. A good timeout taken here by Sherbrooke. They're going to try to settle things down. It's an 8-4 advantage for Trinity early on. Haven't had the opportunity to sort of see the fundamentals of the Sherbrooke team. They've had a couple of great attacks. They got the middle involved here as we get a couple looks at some of the early points here between these two sides. Here's the serve from Jesse Elser. Again, that goes right in between 1 and 6. A great serve from him on that time. Here's the look on the set inside to Schoner. Great set from Elser, and Schoner just takes what's given to him. Get a second look at the camera angle from up top on the block as David. Yeah, you can see sort of adjusting after that attack, so the ball may have come back and clipped and gone off his face a little bit there. But a great start to this opening set in the national championship game for the Trinity Western Spartans. And Steve, we mentioned a number of times that they've been on this stage and so many times as a national championship powerhouse and are looking for another gold after losing last year to the Alberta Golden Bears.
7 straight finals for Trinity Western. This program is a model of excellence for both men's and women's volleyball, actually. Their women's volleyball team made the nationals as well. Here's Brody Hofer. Has he got another big serve in him? He sure does, and a diving Leponce handles it. Here's Holland, drops it to the back row. Jesse Elser cross court, and Rivet in position, but off the block. It's 9-4, Trinity Western.
It may have just gone off the right arm there of Rivet as he was in a position to try to pass up, and platform was good, but maybe just a little bit too flat, so it goes off the outside of the right arm, and instead of trying to stay central, the ball flies and goes out of play. Back up 9-4, Hofer serving again. Hofer,
his serving again. Leponce does well. David down the line, but they're going to call it wide, and it's 10-4.
Run that set to the outside. We mentioned how they get David in a number of different positions in terms of where he's swinging from. Again, David coming straight down the line, yet just paints to the outside. Good defensive setup that time by Trinity, forcing the attack from David to go out.
Hofer finally away from the service line, and the Verteurs say merci, and David, who also possesses a big save, will take his first trip to the service line in the championship.
Yeah, the big right side, Yohan David, been outstanding throughout this tournament. Again, he gets a high volume of sets from that right side position, and when he's in that rotation on the left as well.
Power and spin there, coming from the back. Brody Hofer, explosive.
And Hofer on that jump through doesn't need to worry about cutting to one side or the other, just going to use his physicality. The late block coming to close over to help out on the pipe block defense. But just too much power coming out of the swing that time from Brody Hofer. Excellent attack there.
So Schoner seems to have his service woes righted right now, but able to deliver and send the serve back is Sherbrooke and Elliot Collard.
And Collard gets the set out of the middle and able to swing and cut outside the block this time. Angles his way into where Schoner was in defensive positioning. Gets a touch on the ball, but unable to bring it back in and allow a transition there for Trinity Western. Point goes to Sherbrooke.
Olas on the serve. Opportunity now for the Verteurs in the middle. Collard set up on a platter.
And they run it back to back. This time it goes to Collard once again off the strong serve. On the overpass from the serve, they're able to transition and basically treat that as a free ball opportunity and get the offense into the position that they want, and they run Collard. He's had the hot hand early on. 3 kills out of the middle from Collard so far.
Dimitruk was the one who had trouble with the serve. This time Jesse Elser to brother Brody. Back to Jesse. Great dig on the play by Corneal. Here's Rempel. And Rempel's first attempt was defended well, but he's able to do enough to get the points.
So much pace on that attack from Rempel as he just tees off, swings on the ball. It's a little bit of a gap from the block coming off the tape, not able to transition and penetrate across the tape enough. That little bit of separation off the block allows it to go straight down, especially with that much pace on the ball.
Rempel, who took a little while to get on track yesterday, had 12 kills in last night's game. There's a service error, 12-8 for Trinity Western. Elliot Collard. Couple early kills in the game tonight. He's had 7 total in the tournament. He goes to the float. Dimitruk has a little trouble with it. Jesse Elser off his back foot. But Sherbrooke was a little bit caught by surprise.
The roll shot that time going cross by Elser just takes a little bit of pace off of it, just trying to knife his way around the block and able to find it to the outside. Good adjustment by Elser. The block was set out and just sort of, again, drops that left shoulder, faces it a little bit more towards the court, and able to cut around the block and find the open space.
Jesse Elser, another power serve. Great job, LaPonce. Short set in the middle. Doesn't work. Cross court. Hofer, great dig. But then they ran out of miracles on the Verteurs side, and it's going to go as a point for Trinity Western.
Hofer with the attack on the left side for Trinity, gets it off the top of the block. Defense in a good position. They're able to get a couple scrambles on it, but unable to get it over on third contact. Again, full credit goes to just how aggressive this attack for Trinity can be, able to find a number of different shot selections, a number of different paces on the ball as well.
Elser, Olans handles it. David off the block. And David shows some of his trademark power.
Great swing by Yohan David. They have utilized him a lot from this C-ball position and keeping their big right side engaged in the offense when he is in the back row. It presents such a dangerous option in any team's attack. But getting him involved and having Olans as the primary attacker from that left side, it's able to find that good balance for Sherbrooke.
Portalance right into the net, and it goes right back to Trinity Western. Sherbrooke just kind of waiting. They need that run to get back into it. It hasn't happened yet.
No, they've traded the last few points coming out of the timeout. I believe it was at 8-4 at that timeout juncture, maybe 9-4, but Trinity more than happy with this, and they attack LaPonce on serve receive.
Corneal with a beautiful float serve, but one with pace for the service ace.
They attack LaPonce on serve receive there. It's a high floating serve from Corneal. That's a tough one to handle, so great serve. Full credit goes to Corneal for creating some service pressure here.
This one he just drops over. Hollande right down the middle. 16-10.
Portalance with good location on the set there. He's able to keep it high enough to allow Alonso to make a great attack out of the back row. he was already sort of approaching that attack line, so anticipating maybe the set was coming his way. It's a short approach, but works well.
Laponce on the serve. Short set Schoner, he gets enough of it. Free hit for Hofer, and if you give Hofer free hits, well, it's going to end up in a point.
Good patience by Hofer as well, as that ball was traveling in closer. A couple of Sherbrooke blockers or attackers in tight to the net, so had to wait a little bit before seeing who was going to go up, and Hofer just makes the attack off the hands, wisely played up there by the left side for Trinity.
Matthias Elser, a 6'6" setter, almost had another ace as Hollande does well to get it over. Here's Rempel, goes off speed. Hollande again, and off the block. Gets the point.
That Hollande opens up in terms of his swing mechanics that time. The set does come push high to that far left side, and Hollande again just opening up and taking the advantage of where the block was set up and swinging off the arms and out of play. Converts on the tool. They're back within 6. It's 17-11.
There's Rempel and Schoner who were defending. Vanier serve, Dimitruk straight up in the air, set up and net battle, and diving play made by Laponce. From the back, Jesse Elser with a roar from the crowd with an absolutely outstanding smash.
So Schoner sells and decoys in the middle, and Jesse Elser just locks and loads all the way through out of the back, and Matthias Elser in the set selection able to go to the pipe instead of running the middle. Great decoy by Schoner, great set by Elser, and an even better attack by Jesse Elser.
Oh, great back set, or great attempt at a back set by Portalance. Didn't work though.
Portalance staying parallel to the net. He's able to kind of see where it might be going and where the block is set up, but having to sort of look across the net and read the blocking scheme and seeing where he might get his attacker in the best position possible to make a swing. But when you sort of have that sort of cognitive capacity shifting a little bit, that kind of took away from the fundamentals in tight to the net, gets called on the double. It's pretty close, but the referee there to make the call, 19-11, forcing Sherbrooke into their second timeout here.
Fair to say that's one of the most difficult shots in volleyball to try and master?
Absolutely. Again, they ball that in tight to the tape, and obviously the traditional standpoint, you want to obviously be a little bit off the net when you're trying to make a set in terms of where you can navigate the ball to and find a number of different attackers to go to. So that far in tight to the net with your body parallel to the net and facing away from where your attackers are can certainly be a difficult piece to navigate. But again, Portalance more than capable of executing that play, just gets called on the double that time.
The big hitting of Trinity Western, I wouldn't say it's left Sherbrooke helpless, but they have been a little bit defenseless so far.
Yeah, they haven't had a ton of, not to say adversity throughout this tournament, because they've been so strong. They've won all 6 sets that they've played in, and for the most part have been leading in a lot of those sets. So their defensive transition and their game from their defensive side has been a huge plus for them. We'll see if they can get that back here late in this first set.
Hofer, big serve, another ace for Brody Hofer, who said last night in the press conference he loves the crowds and he loves the big moments.
Certainly embracing that, and after an ace like that, more than worthy of taking a little time to look around the gym and get back in to try to do it once again.
20-11. Trinity Western in command, spin serve, set up, Hollande off the block, and again the combination of Rempel and Schoner can't do the job.
Able to get over there and close that block, but full credit on serve receive that time to Laponce. He's been targeted a few times and had a few go off his arms for aces. Changes the platform that time to go a little bit shallower, puts a little bit more pace on the ball coming fast into the setter, able to run the offense a little faster overall.
Johan David to Brody Hofer. Here's Jesse Elser, and Jesse Elser, the veteran and unquestioned leader of this squad, is setting a fine example so far.
And Elser getting that set to the outside. Thought maybe that there could have been contact on that block coming across, but goes the width of the court with no block touch called. It goes out for the attacking error, but again, the approach set there from Jesse Elser going to be difficult to navigate all night long for the blocks of Sherbrooke.
David clips the net, back set Rempel, and great job by Laponce, and over it goes courtesy of David, so Rivet gets bailed out by his team. Here's Rempel again, this time Rempel finishes the job.
Yeah, Rempel just taking advantage a little bit of the height mismatch that he has when he's swinging from that right side on top of Zachary Hollande, but just utilizes again the ability of a high set to get over top, and Rempel went back to serve, but it's not his time to serve, so he's coming back to the front row here.
Anselm Rhyme coming in, delivered 3 big aces for his team last night as a situational server, and the big man from Germany pounds another one. David saving it. It's got to go over, and it does as Rivet gets it over. Set up now in the middle, and that is Matthias Elser, it looked like, or was it Cornel? One of the two.
Spectacular job by Anselm Ryan to get a hard, aggressive serve in, which put Sherbrooke on their heels in terms of their defense, and they had to scramble to send over a free ball. When you send over a free ball to a talented team like Trinity Western, more often than not, they're going to make you pay, and they did there.
No timeouts left for Trinity Western. They've got to let this play out. That time it was a great back set by Portalance.
And Portalance does a great job running the exact same thing we talked about at the last Sherbrooke timeout, but this time perfect execution, keeps the hands clean, and the distribution out of that was successful there for Sherbrooke. They bring it a little bit closer, still trailing 22-14, and have some room to grow here to close this gap a bit further.
It was Collard who provided the kill, and here is Zachary Hollande. Hofer, great job on the return. Hofer from the pipe, and Hofer, goodness me, they might need to repair the floor after that one.
Have a second look at this in a national championship game, and Brody Hofer absolutely unloads out of the back row. And again, we've talked time and time again about how effective that this Trinity Western attack can be. They've been on full display here, whether it's Elser or whether it is Hofer or the guy serving right now in Rempel. They are a spectacular team to watch offensively.
David, it comes off the net, off the block. And for Trinity, or excuse me, for the Verts, Aor, 23-15. Elliot Collard to serve. Trinity Western might be in momentum building territory for next set, but we've seen them come back. Almost an ace, as Dimitruk had some problems with it. Hofer sends it over. Laponce gets it sent back. And it's set points for Trinity Western.
Sherbrooke needs to collapse a little bit more there as we get a look at the replay. The block was there, and it drops in between 3 or 4 guys that are in a position, just goes right to the open pot off the block. So block location set up nicely by Trinity, but defensively Sherbrooke needs to collapse a little bit more and have somebody take the initiative there to try to pick that ball up, even if it's not the cleanest of first touches.
You knew that Jesse Elser wanted to put an exclamation point on it. Now it's set up for Trinity Western. Rempel, it's long, and not by much.
Saw one of the down officials calling a touch on that while the other didn't, so I think the down official that's closest near to us here, Steve, is responsible for the ultimate call on that one, as it was coming hard cross. They didn't see a contact there, so it's an attacking error for Rempel. It's going to go back to Sherbrooke, 24-16.
Here's Portalance, big serve handled by Jesse Elser in the middle, and that will do it for the first set. Jackson Cornel finishes it. Trinity Western looking outstanding in the first, 25-16.
Yeah, just a spectacular first set for the Trinity Western Spartans, again demonstrating why they are here at this national championship every single season. Great run out of the middle as Elser comes in, and he's able to find coming Cornel into the middle. And we mentioned, Steve, before, they are so dangerous attacking on the pins, but getting their middles involved with Schoner and getting Cornel involved as well going to be very difficult from a defensive standpoint for Sherbrooke to deal with if they can continue to get the middles involved as actively as they do have the pins.
Verteor have some work to do. They've dropped their first set of the tournament. Second coming up on CBC Sports.
We've got your back. Whether you're looking to achieve a healthy and happy lifestyle or an elite athlete looking for world-class recovery and injury rehab, we have you covered. Our passionate team will work with you to create a tailored recovery plan to fit any situation. Get back to being you. The David Braley Sport Medicine and Rehabilitation Center, where everyone is treated like a marauder.
They don't do it for the likes or for the shares. They do it for the fun of it, for the thrill, for the camaraderie, for the memories. CBC Sports, just because they love it.
Trinity Western sending a message in set number 1 of the national championship. They look very impressive, Kyle. 25-16.
25-16 in that opening set and earning 18 of those 25 points in terms of their attack and their block and their serving. They attacked at 400 as a team, Steve. It's impressive numbers in any game, let alone in a national championship. An outstanding opening set by the Trinity Western Spartans, and leading the way was Brody Hofer, attacking at 286, and Jesse Elser hitting at 429 as a left side. 4 kills, 1 attacking error on 7 total attacks, but hitting 400 as a team, Steve, pretty impressive, and a well-balanced opening set from an attacking perspective there for Trinity.
5 different Trinity Western players had kills. Elser misses the first one of the second set, so it's 1-0 for the Vert, and Portelance on the service line. Big serve, Elser does well, but brother Matthias Elser does the rest with a perfectly placed shot.
And Matthias Elser does so many things so well, and it's impressive to see. He has so much size for a setter, but able to, again, we saw him yesterday against McMaster, turn on a few balls and be an attacker. We saw him smart go up there, as turned into an attacker on that one, just pressing the ball back over. Again, such a good decision maker as a setter as well.
Johan David, and attempt at a pancake by Corneille, but it was really well placed by David, considering he didn't have a whole lot to work with.
Forearm set just goes straight up the roll shot over the top, trying to pinch in and get a touch on that ball defensively, and it just goes off the arms there and drops in for the point for Sherbrooke.
Sebastien Leponce on the serve, short set in the middle for Schoner. 2-2.
And again, Elser drawn in tight here, had to move away from 2.5, a little closer to 3, forces Schoner to kind of run a little bit closer to the outside, but a great find on the set, and Schoner staying honest in the middle. Great swing from him, who's had a great start to this match.
Matthias Elser rolls one off the net. Kept alive though, but David just puts it over. Matthias Elser sets it. Brody Hofer sent into the 10th row off the block.
See Guillaume Rivet with a little skate save there, getting the foot up to try to keep it, but pops off and out of play. And again, that swing from Hofer is able to cut hard cross here towards that sideline. That's a really tough shot to try to defend. And the block was set up, the defense was there, but it's a little bit too much pace on it.
Matthias Elser, big serve, handled by Rivet. Olan, everybody ducking on the side of Trinity Western, and they all got out of the way as it goes wide, 4-2.
Zachary Olan is trying to return the favor on a very similar play that they just ran from Trinity Western with a hard angle shot, trying to avoid the block. Does a great job to cut, just a little bit too much though as he angles it wide out of bounds.
Matthias Elser sends one long, and the serve will go back to the Verteor.
Coming out of the service error there, Matthias Elser in the back row, so we got our 3 attacking options in the front court. Schoner and Rempel anchoring one side. Jesse Elser out on the left side pin.
Jesse Elser has 3 or 4 of his fingers taped up. He's got to play it now after Dimitruk did a great job on the return. Scrambling is Sherbrooke. Hollande blocked. Schoner again is dialed in as part of that defense.
Talked about how much of a presence he was blocking yesterday against McMaster. It was actually part of the semifinal sealing block that won the match for Trinity Western yesterday. And again, Schoner just so fast coming across, great at anticipating where the ball is going to be set, anchoring that triple out of the middle, gets the hands on that one, drops in for the point.
Hofer, a monster serve, and off the block, Hollande provides the point. LaPonce had to really be careful on that return.
Great adjustment that time, though, from Zachary Alonso, as he's able to kind of get under the ball a little bit and try to find those hands on the block. The block was successful, so much so on the last point. They're gaining some confidence there. They try to navigate and use the block to their advantage that time. Great job by Alonso to do so.
Johan David right into the net, 6-4 for Trinity Western.
Schoner going back to the service line here now. Try to extend the lead. They're up by 2 in the early going here. Try to continue to push and create that separation. 6
service errors last night, many that were futile attempts. That one sails long, so his woes not quite done, but he's contributing in many other ways.
Service error that time. It gives a free point back to Sherbrooke. And they go with Zachary Alonso back to the service line here, meaning they got LaPonce in the front court as their main left side on this sequence through.
Great spin serve. Rempel does well. Rempel to finish. And Rempel gets it returned. Postage due. We're tied at 6.
Matthias Elser with a set selection coming to the right side that time, and anticipating that that ball was potentially going to come was Henry Rempel, but just a little bit too low in terms of the set. So Elser wanted to try to push that one up a little bit higher and allow a bit more time for Rempel to get forward so that he's not angling a little bit behind him when he's trying to make that swing from the right side.
Clipping off the net is Hollande. They go to Jesse Elser. Finds the open spot, dumps it down, and the lead goes back to Trinity Western.
Elser, in my opinion, has been the best at that this tournament, Steve, being able to just take a set that comes to the outside, and instead of trying to swing away with a full amount of power, we surely know that he can do that. We saw him from the left, from the front court, and from the back, teeing off on balls, but that change of pace ball has done so well. Sam Cooper, another one who does a great job of that, but Elser's been spectacular. I think he's now been able to find a number of points that way in this tournament. Trinity gives one back with a service error, though, from Rempel.
Second service error for Rempel. And Elliot Collard will step to the service line. Coming from the right corner with the float serve, Dimitruk. Elser brothers, long.
Say contact.
But they say contact, sorry, at the net, and it's 8-7 Trinity Western.
Again, Elser just with a flat swing that time. Does have good pace on it, doesn't get the snap there, but he's able to find the hands on the block. And obviously just as well, if it goes off the hands and out of play, then being able to snap it straight down to the open floor. Great job again by Elser. We'll see what he does from the line.
Jesse Elser, huge serve, diving Hollands on the return. David off speed. They go to Brody Hofer, and Hofer able to get it over off the net scramble, and then it's hit long, but is it off the block? Vanier hit it, and it's long, and it's Trinity Western's point.
Saying no contact on it there, but they tried to get Elser faking and decoying out of the pipe and trying to stay as a setter and staying patient, flying out of the air, but it's a tough piece to navigate. Able to get it across to Brody Hofer on that sequence, and Hofer, I think, kind of rolled it off the tape, maybe not expecting that set to come that way, and it was a little bit off the net, but nonetheless, Trinity earns a point.
Elser spin serve, set up, and that was well defended by Matthias Elser. Hofer, net battle, it's pinballing around. David, he goes off speed. Ball's bouncing everywhere, it seems. Rempel off the block. Says, enough of this back and forth. I'm just going to finish it off.
Lots going on in that rally in particular, as there were things kind of going on both sides of the net in terms of some maybe uncharacteristic or some miscommunications happening. But again, Trinity staying the course throughout the course of that rally. And that time, Matthias Elser was pulled all the way across the court, Steve, and able to get that right side C ball set to Rempel. And the ability to do so when you need an alternative or that bailout, there's a look at the play up top on the net from Matthias Elser. A couple other highlights from this second set so far, and great job by Trinity Western to stay the course throughout those rallies. We talked about that as a narrative yesterday, Steve, when those are the types of rallies throughout the course of a match that aren't going to happen too many times, but if you come out on the positive throughout the majority of those, can really make a difference in terms of winning and losing sets and winning and losing matches.
And now they've extended to a 3-point lead that forced Sherbrooke into the timeout. It's normally the Quebec teams we say are the scrappy defenders, but Trinity Western has shown they're not just power. They kept that last point, the last couple points alive.
Yeah, they're so fundamental throughout all aspects of it. Again, we talked at the beginning about what their strengths are and looking at creating serving pressure and being able to attack with pace from multiple positions on the floor, but certainly not going to be this successful for this long without being able to play some defense as well. And they've been able to pick up a lot coming back from Sherbrooke so far here today.
Jesse Elser to serve. Trinity Western serve has been very intimidating tonight. And again, Rivet worked hard. And David off the block, and it's going back to the Verteor.
Outstanding response by Yohan David coming out of the timeout to get the set into one of the best attackers in this tournament. They're able to find him out of the C ball, and he swings high off the hands of Brody Hofer. Goes out of play, a much needed side out that time by Sherbrooke. They're back to within 2.
Sherbrooke needs to go on a little bit of a run here as Portelance from the serve can't get that set number 2 get away. And that serve got away from Portelance, 11-8.
Portelance trying to come hard cross court and try to pick apart some of the serve receivers here to the near sideline, but a little bit too hard. It may have gone to the outside of his hand that couldn't come all the way back across and goes wide of the net.
Jackson Corneal on the serve. Rivet set up for David off the block, and David is starting to get on track here in set number 2.
Yeah, such a high reach on that sequence by Yohan David. Set comes high up on top of the block and just able to get up on over top of where the hands were set up, and just that extra reach from Yohan David goes and able to eat up the block a little bit. Block was set in a nice position, but just takes a little bit of a dip.
Rempel. And Rempel also flexing his muscle and demonstrating his power as Trinity Western now maintaining this 3-point lead.
And after a bit of a miscue, maybe 3 attacks ago between Elser and Rempel, they seem to be right back to where they are chemistry-wise. The last 2-3 attacks from Rempel, the set connection has been great.
Matthias Elser on the serve. Sent back. Orland's attempt was sent back, but it was wide, so the point will go to the Verteor, and I think Trinity Western might want that one back.
Yeah, the block was in a great position, but Orland does a nice job of just getting a little bit of a touch on the ball, taking a lot of pace off of it, just finding the hands and using it to his advantage. And I think the block, yeah, you're right, may have wanted to angle that one back a little bit more, but the timing was there, so that's a piece to hold on to.
Julien Vanier does not get net luck on that one. Another service error. And just when Sherbrooke looks like they want to cut into that lead, a service error brings it back to 3.
Yeah, they give a free point back to Trinity, and that's a tough thing to do here, especially as they're trying to close the gap. Want to be sharp on the serves. We'll see what Hofer does in response.
That one is long, so service errors being traded between the two teams. On the side out, 13-11 for Trinity Western.
Now they've got Yohan David back to the service line, has a strong aggressive serve, but also now the defensive and blocking scheme will shift for Trinity a little bit as they see their big attacker of Sherbrooke going into the back row and try to defend a bit more out of the C.
David, big serve, Dimitruk diving. Here's Jesse Elser. Tries to go with the roll and then saves it. He'll try again with power and is successful. So demonstrating the diversity in his game, Jesse Elser.
After the first swing goes on the sort of a recycle and rolls off the hands. And they're able to cover defensively, and they go with Brody Hofer actually getting the assist on that set to Jesse Elser. So setting out of 6 out of the back court, just a high set ball to the outside and able to convert for the point.
Schoner goes power, and he still can't solve those serving woes that he's still experiencing. 14-12.
So Zachary Allon is going to go back to the service line now. They need to steal a couple here as we approach the midway point of this second set. Could be a pretty critical juncture overall. Obviously seeing the second set being pivotal in any match.
Holland's big serve, diving, Brody Hofer, Jesse Elser, kind of windmill style defended by Sherbrooke. Back set, David, Hofer, Matthias Elser, Hofer! He has been his own highlight reel.
And that's definitely one to add to it there, is again, it's a back set to a pipe swing for Brody Hofer, so he was pulled a little bit farther over, closer towards the right side, in between 2 and 2.5. But a great swing by Hofer out of the pipe, whether it's more central in the court or whether he's pulled to one direction or the other. A great find by Elser, good swing by Hofer. They convert, but then they give one back on the service error by Rempel.
Rempel, 3 service errors now. That toss, Kyle, looked like it was way too far ahead of him and didn't really have a chance.
You always got to be conscious, obviously, of where that service line is, and it can make an impact sometimes when your toss does feel a little bit off, whether it's too far to one side or a little bit too far forward. It can make those adjustments a little bit more difficult.
So Zachary Morsin in to serve. His first effort. Jesse Elser off the block, kept alive. Short set in the middle, and the middle defense. Jackson Corneal, a part of things. Sends it right back at 16-13.
It's a good fix inside of Portalance again, trying to go face to the net and get that sort of back set to go. But when that is an opportunity for Sherbrooke to try to run that, it's a little easier for the block scheme of Trinity to read. The options become limited. There's not a lot of pace that can be done on that type of set. The middle reads it nicely and gets a touch on the block.
Elser long, 16-14, and since the timeout was taken by Sherbrooke at 10-7, all they've been able to do is trade points. It's time for them to really go on a run, isn't it?
See if they can try to close the gap here and steal some from the service line, whether that's a power serve to try to navigate a few overpasses and to be able to run their offense out of that, whether it's an ace coming through altogether or whether they try to put them under defensively.
Portalance does none of those, and his serve sails well long.
Yeah, never fun, obviously, to when you have a service error, but at junctures when you need to try to steal some points back, it just magnifies it a little bit. That's kind of what we saw in that service error there from Portalance.
So here's Corneal on the serve. Johan David off the block. Rempel reacts. Here's Hofer. Sent back, big block, Julien Vanier.
Great block that time by Sherbrooke. It was a forearm set that was coming all the way far to the wide side pin, but it pulls Brody Hofer off that left side and allows the block to close in a little bit and take away the attacking lanes there for Brody Hofer. Little unorthodox there. The defense does a great job staying with it, though.
Leponce on the serve. Short set, Schoner. And Rivet not in position. 18-15.
That inside set for Matthias Elser is such a tough piece to do, especially with the middle already approaching towards the net. So Elser has to, again, drop that right shoulder and get that lead set to come in for Schoner, who's already approaching and in his swing mechanics as the ball is leaving the hands of Elser.
Matthias Elser, and it is long. Not my bunch. That was close.
So some service errors between both sides here in the midway point of this set. They're trading through. It will be interesting to see the statistics of this second set and where these serving errors have played a role. 2 points, though, so Sherbrooke still very much in this one. See if they can continue to close that gap.
Julien Vanier, but again, it sails long and well long. It's 19-16. That 3-point lead continues to be maintained.
Now they've got Brody Hofer back to the line, who's had a great tournament from the service line, especially yesterday in that semifinal against McMaster. We'll see if he can continue that here as they come into critical points here in this second set.
Hofer delivers an ace. And this is where Trinity Western can smell blood in the water.
Timeout taken here by Sherbrooke, and the time to do so for sure is, again, Hofer so strong from that service line. We saw, again, how he was able to use that to his advantage and Trinity's advantage in that semifinal win against McMaster yesterday. And we'll come out of the timeout here to see if he can continue to be a strength from the line. And again, Trinity with a 4-point cushion here in this second set. Obviously, the teams have at this caliber are able to put some of that momentum piece away if they do end up dropping the first 2 sets. We've seen plenty of times where a team goes down the first 2 and are still able to come back and win in 5. But a very critical point in this national championship here, Steve. Trinity winning the first set comfortably. Sherbrooke already at their point of which they got to in terms of points in the opening set with 16. So they're continuing to close here, but would obviously be a big piece for them if they can close that gap even further, push this into a 5-point fight towards the end to close out the set and try to even this match up.
Sherbrooke hasn't tasted defeat since October the 16th, the 5-setter against Montreal, and even that one they almost won. It was 15-13 in the 5th, but this is adversity they've never faced before with this, I said it last night, I'll say it again, this machine-like presence of Trinity Western.
Yeah, again, we talked about how fundamental and how sound they are and how aggressive they can be in all three facets of the game. We'll see if that continues from the line here from Brody Hofer.
Hofer, big serve coming up. Nope, he goes roll, and it's off the net. Little frustrated, Hofer.
Yeah, Hofer wanted to take a lot off that one and try to get the serve receive of Sherbrooke moving forward. When you have such a high and such a hard spin serve, the serve receivers drop back quite a bit towards the baseline, so try to take advantage of some open space up in front of it.
Johan David, and again it's long, and again unable to go on that run.
Now we've got Anselm Rhyme coming in, who's going to serve for Schoner. We've seen what he can bring from the service line in this tournament, Steve. At 21-17, wouldn't be surprised if Ryan's able to go on a bit of a run to create a bit of a buffer here and push Trinity that much closer to a second set victory.
He had an ace in the first set when he came in. Here he goes again. That one handled by Hollande. David, and he just is able to squeeze it through Rempel, 21-18.
So they set to the C-ball that time through for David and had the close coming on the triple block from Rempel, who's kind of going through the motions of what he would like to do maybe on the block the next time through, but great decision and initiative to close on that block to push and make it a little bit more uncomfortable for David, but they earn the point nonetheless.
Exactly, Hollande's on the serve. From the back, Brody Hofer. Not one exclamation point, there were about 3 on that one, and it's 22-18.
Here's a second look at the last attack there by Brody Hofer, who again is able to navigate that positioning behind the attack line so well and not just jump high and up, but able to jump forward and get so much pace and energy behind that pipe ball.
Rempel on the serve. David this time able to elevate and show off his trademark power.
And David gives one right back. So the last rally through, it's a physical demonstration there by Brody Hofer, and this time Johan David able to replicate the different location in terms of where it was coming from on the floor, out of the C-ball instead of out of the pipe, but David says I can do that as well. Great swing by him. Closes it a gap again, Steve. It's been that 3-point cushion and buffer that we've seen a lot throughout this set.
Elliot Collard on the serve. Floats one. Dimitruk, great job. Set up. Rempel, it's long. 22-20.
Here's a look at the swing here by Rempel. They set. He gets close into that attack line, gets good contact on the ball. Block was set up and maybe didn't get the snap he was looking for there, but a good defensive positioning on the block coming across there by Sherbrooke.
Collard. Oh, net battle possible, but what a great job by Matthias Elser on the angle to get beyond the defense, and it's a 3-point cushion again.
And what a point to look at if you're looking at the Matthias Elser highlight reel. What's really tough to navigate for the blockers on that one, Steve, is how long he waits before making the decision to try to make contact on the ball as an attacker. Waiting inside, he's staying parallel to the net and trying to get there perpendicular to the net, and there's a service ace from Elser, but it's so difficult to navigate there for Matthias Elser.
Set point as Jesse Elser delivers a humming serve that may not have landed yet.
Just so much pace, as we've mentioned, on that serve, and Elser will try to go back. We'll see if he does a bit of change of pace. He's just going to swing away and try to get another one.
Swinging away and swinging his way into a 2-set lead for his team. Jesse Elser finishes with a flourish. 2 straight aces. It's 2-0 for Trinity Western.
And Jesse Elser gets the full green light and just tees off on that ball from the service line. Has so much power, whether it's coming out of the back row, whether it's out of the front row, whether it's out of the service line like we saw in the last 2 points. But what a way to steal the final 2 points of the second set. Then on just 2 contacts from one of the best servers in the country, Jesse Elser put his team on the back to close out there. 2-0 Trinity. Heading into the third set, Steve, they're off and rolling.
Sherbrooke pushed to the brink. They trailed 2-0, trying to stay alive. Third set coming up on CBC Sports. Well, it's been a clinic so far by the Trinity Western Spartans, who came in as the number 3 seed in the tournament. They've got a 2-0 lead on the Sherbrooke Vert or 25-16, 25-20 in that latest set, Kyle Compo, and it was just a set that Sherbrooke just couldn't get over that hump and get beyond 3 points down.
No, and they did a great job of being able to, again, trade points through and make it close and being able to put themselves into a position to finally close that gap and take advantage and maybe take the lead at certain points throughout that set. But just kind of looking through the stats, Steve, and even though they do win that set, and Trinity Western did an outstanding job from an attacking side, we were kind of looking to wait and see what the service errors piece would look like. They had 8 in that second set. So we'll see it. And having 8 service errors, obviously, but you look at the aces that they had as well, and we saw how they finished off. So it's well worth the service pressure and the risk of creating some of those service errors that we saw based on how they finished off the set. So even though looking at that number in terms of service errors and something you want to maybe cut down a little bit, but at the same time, it is such a huge piece to have that high risk, high reward, and that pace that they have on those serves is ultimately what Jesse Elser was able to harness at the end and convert for the final 2 points of that second set. So high number of service errors from both sides in that set, but understand full well how they were using that from a tactical standpoint and try to convert points out of that and how to win sets.
Jesse Elser opened the game with a service ace, and he ended set number 2 with back-to-back service aces. And Vanier sends the serve into the net, the 10th service error for Sherbrooke.
Trinity Western attacking through the first 2 sets at a 375 clip as a team and leading the way out of that. Corey Schoner, 4 for 5 in terms of attacks, hitting at 800. And then you see total attacks split well between Jesse Elser and Brody Hofer, 14 and 15 respectively. And Hofer hitting at 286, Elser at 333.
And here's Jesse Elser. He's right back on the service line. That's the first server for the Spartans. LaPonce handles it. David, 1-1.
Corneille coming over to close on the block with Hofer, and they take away the line from Yohan David, but he's able to still navigate. You see Portalance on the replay there, able to check where the block scheme was on the other side of the net, decides to come to the right side and finds David, who does a great job being able to hit high off the hands, in tight to the pin, and hits it out of play, and David's had a great game here so far.
David with the big serve. Here's Matthias Elser on the roll, and that one is claimed by the Vert or.
Speaking of Yohan David, hitting at 294 through the first 2 sets. He had 7 kills on 17 total attacks and 2 attacking errors. And on the other side, Zachary Hollande, 5 attacks, 2 errors on 11 attacks, 273 so far. David
serve, handled again by Matthias Elser. Jesse Elser, a net battle, a net joust, and winning it is Trinity Western. We're tied at 2.
Yeah, Hofer just getting up for the joust at the net there. Able to get first contact on the joust, force it into the hands of Sherbrooke. He's trying to push it right back in, but it comes back over and ultimately swings underneath the net, 2-2.
Jackson Corneille clips the net. Here's David off the block. Great save by Jesse Elser. Here's Hofer, and that one is blocked. Good play by Collard. Here's Hofer again. Off the block, it's kept alive. Here's Holo off the block, and a big point won by the Verteor.
Great job by Sherbrooke, again, staying the course throughout that rally. There were a couple of opportunities in which they had to finish it off, but it was defended well by Trinity. Trinity Western coming back the other way with a couple of opportunities of their own. So a good lengthy rally on both sides. And Sherbrooke has enough in the tank to finish that one off on the swing on the left side by Zachary Alonso.
Well, everything is going to be on the table for the Verdeor in this third set. They trail 2-0. Here's Olans on the serve, clips the net. Jesse Elser on the return. Jesse Elser from the back, and Jesse Elser with the finish.
Pipe attack continuing to work well here for Trinity as it heads throughout the first 2 sets. They set over top of the decoy set by Schoner, and then Elser just flying straight out of the back row. Coming out of 6 and has a multiple angles to try to attack from when he's staying that central to the court coming out of the back row.
Matthias Elser, big serve. Great job by Rivet. David to try and reward Rivet, and he smashes it long.
And David was close to making contact on the top of the block there, but I think there was enough of a gap for it to just fly out the back without any contact coming from Trinity Western. They're continuing to get the block set up on David. That time, maybe trying to find high hands. Unable to do so, goes out the back on the attacking error.
Elser rolls it. In the middle they go, and Collard can't finish. They'll go across, and LaPonce gets it sent back. Rempel right there on the defense.
Henry Rempel fired up on that block as he's able to come across and help inside of the middle on Schoner, and then gets pulled to the outside. Schoner was late coming across, but the good frame to the inside on that block from Rempel wins the point there for Trinity.
Matthias Elser into the net, 5-4 Trinity Western. Serve going back to the Verteor. They have yet to go on that 4 or 5 point run that team really needs, particularly when you're playing against Trinity Western.
Yeah, we saw Sherbrooke do that a little bit in their semifinal win against Alberta yesterday, where they were able to put the Golden Bears on their heels and take advantage of some compounding errors from Alberta yesterday, but also creating some with their own. And there's a great block up top by LaPonce.
LaPonce supported by Vanier, and that was Brody Hofer that they blocked as well.
Could be an energy booster here that Sherbrooke needs. Strong at the net on that time and winning some points on defense is going to help to go along and complement how well they can play offensively.
Elliot Collard, Dimitruk had trouble with it. Great job by Matthias Elser, but Hofer can't win the net battle. Vanier right there, and now the Verteor have a lead to work with.
Approval from the Verteor players after that sequence through, as Hofer kind of was stuck in a joust there and pushed it off the block and it landed back. The official makes the call saying it came back off of Hofer, off of that joust, and rolled off of him before going out of play. The point goes to Sherbrooke.
Collard clips the net. Dimitruk stayed with it. Here's the pipe again. Jesse Elser. Rempel sends it back. Set across, and does it find the line? No, it doesn't. And we're tied at 6.
What an outstanding set that time, though, by Portalance. He falls to the ground and gets up. We've talked about his ability to set while facing the net. That time he drops a little bit to that shoulder and able to get it some pace on it while facing the net that time. Great set by Portalance. Doesn't make contact on the swing, though.
Hofer, big serve. Good job. Olans from the pipe. Outstanding job by Zachary Olans.
Yeah, needing the side out, and again, much like we've seen by many of the teams, utilizing the pipe to their advantage throughout the course of this weekend. Zachary Olans does a nice job converting the set from Portalance out of the back row. Converts to the point. They're up 1.
Portalance, that one sent long. We're tied at 7. And here's Schoner. The McMaster fans last night were really giving it to Schoner when they knew he had his struggles serving, but he was able to contribute with outstanding defense and really being a middle presence. That's a beautiful serve. Set up and finished off. Great job there by Jackson Corneal, but the happiest guy in the gym is Corey Schoner.
Great serve this time by Schoner, creating that service pressure on the overpass from Ribe. Pops straight up over top and just swinging away as Corneal. Good body control not to clip the net and keep with the ball in front. Finds it to the open floor. Trinity's up.
Schoner now. Serve is back. David! He never left. We're tied at 8.
Excellent response by Yohan David and Portelance to come across and find him. We know his natural position is coming from the right side pin, but just as comfortable swinging over from the left side as Yohan David keeps that ball in front. Great power on that swing by the number 6 of Sherbrooke.
Short set and Corneal can't finish. Here's David and it's blocked. Again, it's Jackson Corneal elevating, and that 6-foot frame got on top of it.
Jesse Elser framing the block a little bit inside the pin and taking the cross a little bit more away from David based on where that set location was. You can see him being active at the block in the net, but full credit to Corneal to close, and he gets most of the contact on that block. Great job by Trinity.
Rempel, big serve, and Boyd Leponce doing well. David sends it to the backcourt. Hofer. Matthias Elser. Rempel! So many weapons for Trinity Western, and Rempel is one of them.
Just see how far over Matthias Elser is in terms of getting drawn in towards the center of the court. Was almost approaching sort of 3.5, closer to 4, but still manages to come back behind his head and set that C-ball to Rempel. Tough set to make. Great job by Elser and great job by Rempel to be ready for it, and not only be ready for it, but to convert with some power. Great job by Trinity.
And now the Vert, despite that service error by Rempel, who's had a less than stellar time at the service line, they find themselves trailing again here in set number 3, and the Vert need Julien Vanier to be at his best.
Trading points here early on. Both teams have preserved both timeouts, so haven't expired any of those at this point, and obviously would like Sherbrooke to try to maintain those as much as possible for their sake with their season on the line here.
Set up in the middle, and Jackson Corneal is having himself quite a championship so far.
Yeah, lots of different individuals getting involved in this championship for Trinity Western. As you see Corneal, he and Schoner have done a great job in the middle for some change of pace in terms of the set volume and misdirection. Getting the middle involved has been huge for them, and another big serve by Elser.
Another ace from Jesse Elser, an elite server who's actually taken it to another level and forced Sherbrooke into a timeout.
And we just talked about the idea of timeout preservation, but they need to settle things down and slow down the serve from Jesse Elser. Don't want him going on any runs. Maybe give him a little bit of time to think about some stuff and go through the motions here. But kind of mentioned yesterday, Steve, a lot of these guys that are playing at such a high caliber that have been in this situation before, icing the server doesn't typically work in these situations sometimes with players of that caliber.
Take a look at some of the highlights here from the third set, and you know, with Trinity Western, we've said it time and time and again, if Hofer won't get you, Jesse Elser will get you, and if he doesn't get you, Rempel will get you, and if he doesn't get you, Corneal, Schoner, it rolls on and on and on. So many weapons, so much diversity.
So much diversity for sure, and so much, wealth of that attacking option, and it comes from a number of different ways too, Steve. It's from power, it's from rolls down the line, it's hard angles across, it's out of the pipe, it's out of the sea. It doesn't matter where that ball is coming from. The set distribution from Matthias Elser, getting everybody involved, and the shot selection from these attackers are doing a great job of scoring points in a number of different ways. But Sherbrooke, perhaps more so than some other teams in the tournament and other teams in the country, have the defensive skill set and versatility to be able to play that way as well, and to be able to pick up a lot of that stuff. Trinity's been able to score a lot of points here today, though, in terms of their offense.
Sherbrooke looking to dig deep. Elser, another explosive serve, another ace for Jesse Elser. His career will come to an end this afternoon, and he is locked in right now.
15 points so far here by Jesse Elser, sort of on track to be in at least the conversation, Steve, for player of the game and maybe player of the tournament. He's been outstanding.
He's looking for 3 in a row, and that time he got a little excited and banged one long.
Service error that time from Elser, but we mentioned in terms of the benefit that comes from the aggressive serving arsenal that Trinity Western has, they're more than okay to send a few free points back the other way if they can steal some and even that ratio out a little bit.
Yohan David, big high toss from the right side, and he has struggled a little bit with the serve this evening as well, as he sends it right back to Trinity Western.
4-point cushion restored now for the Spartans. It'll be a shallow serve receive upcoming, so Corneal anticipating a float serve upcoming from him and see if they can handle that.
Clips the net. Collard there. David! And a nice job done by Yohan David.
The attacking coverage on defense for the Trinity Western Spartans play a little bit deep when David is swinging, as he has so much power. So when it does go off the block, it's got a tendency obviously to drop a little bit further in front of the defense. And when it doesn't make that clip, they're usually in the right position. That time it does slow down enough that it drops in front of the defensive coverage there from Trinity Western.
Exactly, Olans. Jesse Elser scrambles, and Hofer finishes from the left side, as it looked like that Sherbrooke defense got a little out of sync.
Hofer just kind of has a knuckle attack there. He allows it to kind of roll a little bit to his outside, cuts down the line, doesn't get as much power cutting down the line, obviously, as you would from that hard cross if you're not indicating early that that's where you're going to go. Good job by Hofer, though, to make that adjustment.
Short set in the middle for Collard, and again, it's this trail by 4, trail by 3, trail by 4, trail by 3. Last set, Kyle, it was trail by 3, trail by 2, trail by 3. So again, Sherbrooke fighting it.
Midway through this set, they need to continue to push that though and close those gaps if they're going to push this to at least the 4th set and continue their quest for a gold medal here. And we'll see what they can create, some service pressure and try to steal some points here and get back on even terms midway through the set.
Elliot Collard, float serve is a good one. Dimitruk up in the air, net battle coming, and it's won by Trinity Western, and they're getting their share of those net battles, and they're winning their fair share of those net battles.
Have a look at the play here by Matthias Elser, who is front row, so he was able to make contact on that ball should he decide to do so, but leaves that one and lets it sort of drop over as the defense of Sherbrooke try to go up for the block, maybe not anticipating the leaving that ball from Matthias Elser.
Olans handles that Hofer serve, roll by David, blocked. LaPonce off the block, sending it back to Sherbrooke, and they'll get Brody Hofer off the service line.
Excellent adjustment on the attack there by LaPonce as he sees the block coming across and they take away the line. It's only two blockers coming across on that sequence through. He's able to wipe it off the attack on the block there from Schoner, takes it out of play. They're back within 3.
Jonathan Portelance on the serve, high toss, big serve into the net. 4-point cushion now for Trinity Western with the serve.
Yeah, it looked like Portelance was chasing that one immediately after it left his hand, and now we'll get Anselm Ryan to come back in. And we've seen what difference he can make, Steve, as a server. It also presents another setting option on the floor for Trinity Western. So they've got multiple hands on the floor as well. Should they get themselves in an out-of-system spot, they can still stay aggressive on their attack.
A 6'7" setter. LaPonce handles it. Short set. Vanier. 17-14.
Great response by Sherbrooke, and they run it into the middle to Vanier. And again, you see Portelance, as many setters do at this level, being able to have a look across the net before the ball lands in his hands to see where the block, if they're cheating to one side or the other, where the block and defensive schemes are set up. Great run into the middle by him.
LaPonce on the serve. Matthias Elser, Jesse Elser off the block, and it's 18-14, and doing a great job of handling those float serves tonight is Trinity Western.
Yeah, whether it's taking it with forearms or with hand passing and settling it down and cutting that path off before the ball has an opportunity to do much movement in the air. The longer it waits, the more it's going to move. Great job on that receive.
Rempel went to a spin serve, perfectly placed. It's another ace for the Spartans.
Still one timeout left for Sherbrooke as you get another look at the spin serve by Rempel. And typically he's gone closer towards 6 and into 5, but he comes all the way hard cross that time on the serve.
It's in, it's another ace for Henry Rempel. And it's 20-14, and the power of Trinity Western too much, and it's a timeout for Sherbrooke.
We saw the aces from Jesse Elser at the end of the second set, and now we're seeing them from Henry Rempel. Again, such a team that emphasizes so much in terms of creating that serving pressure and being able to have multiple guys on the floor who utilize the spin serve and make the defense adjust a little bit tougher. And they've had a great run at a number of different times here, so you get a couple of highlights throughout the set so far. There's a swing from the right side there from Sherbrooke. There's a set to the outside. As cutting down the line was Brody Hofer. Great vantage point from our net cam here to run that inside to Collard. And then there's the leave by Elser, Steve. So again, ball was coming high in towards the tape. Was able to still make a jump and an approach and makes the blockers second guess potentially what he's going to do out of that. And just wisely leaves that one and allows it to kind of eat up the block on the other side. 6-point cushion now for Trinity Western. They are 5 points to push now for another national title.
And it's Henry Rempel back on the service line, back-to-back aces. Had his serving woes earlier in the match. Now he's locked in. It's another booming serve. Rivet does well. Hollande does well. It's still kept alive, though, by Sherbrooke. Here's David. And Jesse Elser was on the other side of the court, came back to his side of the court. And at that wild sequence, it's Sherbrooke's point.
A lot of chaos going on in that particular rally for sure. Great pickup by Rivet on serve receive after a couple of hard serves from Rempel. You saw Jesse Elser coming across to try to make a play on the ball. David plays the ball instead of leaving it to go out. So he obviously saw something that Elser didn't. But then wisely, Portelance tries to come back the other way and take advantage of the fact that Elser was missing on the block.
Jesse Elser, Portelance, David into the net.
Sorry, I was just going to finish that thought, Steve. And again, Elser had to come back in a hurry to get back after vacating his position as a front court blocker. He gets back there and clips the net along the way, but that time they were able to win the point.
And here is Jesse Elser on the serve. His team is 4 points away from the championship. His serving has been spectacular so far tonight. Goes to the roll, and it's another ace! Another ace for Jesse Elser.
And like we talked about before with the serve receive coming in deep, there's plenty of open space on the floor. And if you're still able to go through the exact motion of how you would do your serve if you were swinging aggressively, able to take some roll off, forcing the serve receive to make a reach on that one, and it drops to the open floor.
Elser again, it's another ace, and it's in! And they're 2 points away from a goal!
And Jesse Elser, much like we saw at the end of the second set, Steve, just continuing to be a menace from the service line, and he is knifing away through this serve receive set up by Sherbrooke. 2 points to push now. They got plenty of space here with the gold medal in their sight line.
Elser, spin serve, David. Portelance, David, it is sent back to him. And if the serve won't get you, the blocking will. Match point, Trinity Western.
Portelance gets pulled off the net and sets to David. It's the right set selection to come across there. Multiple match points now for Trinity Western, and what a way it would be for the Spartans to finish with a hard, aggressive serve and plenty of points to work with. Give the green light to Elser here. Let him try to tee off for the win.
Set, match, and championship point. He tees off. Diving play by Rivet. Across it goes to Hollande. It's set up now for Trinity Western. It's Brody Hofer! And the Trinity Western Spartans are back on top of the volleyball world. 2023 national champions. A straight set victory over the Sherbrooke Vert.
Outstanding final point here for the Trinity Western Spartans. They get a hard, aggressive serve by Jesse Elser. Great pickup by Sherbrooke to stay with it. They send the ball back over. Getting a touch on the block by Trinity slows that ball down to try to keep them with enough pace on defense to stay back. A great aggressive attack, and they knew with the championship on the line that it was going to come to Brody Hofer. And Brody Hofer, Steve, makes no mistake. He has been spectacular throughout this tournament. They get a 10-point win in this third set, and they are the 2023 Tantramar Trophy winners as men's volleyball gold medalists.
And Adam Schreiber won a national championship here on this floor at McMaster. And now he's won one as a coach. And what a job by Trinity Western in that third set. They took the second and quite simply overpowered one of the best teams in the country, the national finalists and silver medals. Vert didn't quite have the answers.
No, and again, they were outstanding throughout this tournament, and from dating back all the way to last year's tournament where they won the U Sports bronze medal. Just didn't have enough in the tank here in the final. We'll come back after this and try to do a deep dive of these two teams.
Post-game coming up.
This season, catch the best in Atlantic University sport excitement at home or on the go with AUS TV. Soccer, rugby, football, volleyball, hockey, basketball, and more. Tune in at AUSTV.ca. All your favorite university teams showcasing their talents in one place. AUS TV, powered by Bell Alliance. They bring it to the court. They bring it to the field. They bring it to the ice. And now they bring it to you. Presented by Subway, the official fuel of Atlantic University sport.
Get the stories behind the glory. Watch, listen, stream, read CBC Sports.
Hey, U Sports fans, check out shop.usports.ca for this week's promotional item from the Nike Team collection. Visitez le shop.usport.ca pour en profiter de la promotion de la semaine de la collection Nike Team.
The celebrations continue here for the Trinity Western Spartans. And an outstanding job as Trinity Western salutes the crowd. Great crowds all weekend long here at McMaster. The Sherbrooke Vert were hoping to turn their bronze medal into gold. They will have to settle for the silver. What a run they had, not only in this tournament, Kyle, but all season long.
Yeah, like we mentioned before the break, they had such a strong season last year to take the national bronze medal, continue to build on that, had a great season throughout the RSEQ. They were the RSEQ champions. They came into this tournament with a lot of confidence and a lot of respect from the other teams that were at this championship, and do an outstanding job fighting through the quarters, fighting through the semifinals. They were dominant in both of those games against Windsor and Alberta, but then they show up and have to play against an outstanding Trinity Western team. Some really good moments from Sherbrooke in this national championship game as well. But when it came time to those pivotal junctures of what was going to change and shift momentum, all of those just seemed to go in the favor of Trinity Western. They pulled away in the first with a service run. They pulled away in the second with a service run with some outstanding swings and defense and blocking to go along with that as well. And then in the third set, just in the last 4 or 5 points coming out of the timeouts from Sherbrooke, Trinity was able to maintain that energy and that momentum and just was able to push Sherbrooke back enough. And a well-deserved champion here, Steve. They were spectacular.
Mikasa MVPs coming up, and it is going to be Matthias Elser for Trinity Western and Zachary Olans for Sherbrooke, both worthy. I mean, Matthias Elser, the big hitters are Jesse Elser and Hofer and Rempel, but Matthias Elser, the things he can do as a 6'6" setter, I don't think too many volleyball players in this country are able to do.
Such an outstanding player and such a fun athlete to watch, and he just makes this such a difficult team to try to deal with. We mentioned that there's a number of individuals sort of waiting in the wings to replace and take over for some of those that are graduating from this Trinity Western group. But again, they have so much a wealth of depth in terms of guys that can get things done, and they are attacking so aggressively from the front court, from the back court, from the pins, from the middle, from the service line, and again, some defense to boot. And impressed all weekend with Matthias Elser, as well as the player of the game here for Sherbrooke, Zachary Olans, who was spectacular in the semifinals yesterday as well, and showed up once again here today in the finals to put on for the Sherbrooke Vert, who will be taking home the national silver medal.
Trinity Western, they've got those championship ball caps on, and so Matthias Elser Got that great flow now covered with a ball cap as he gets his Mikasa Player of the Game MVP. All-Star Game team is going to be a wealth of talent. Tournament MVP, you can have 3 or 4 candidates from Trinity Western. An outstanding tournament all weekend long. I know the hometown folks really wanted McMaster in this final, but Trinity Western probably started thinking about this championship the moment they lost last year's championship to Alberta.
Certainly were, and we'll get some further recognition here in terms of the tournament all-stars and the tournament MVP. But again, there's a number of talented pieces that are worthy of consideration here as we're going to recognize again some of the tournament all-stars.
This is the Fair Play Award coming up. Head official is handing this one out. Montreal Caravan takes the Fair Play Award. Another great tournament, really. What a tournament for all of this conference. They really represented themselves well, acquitted themselves well, and no shame. This is a conference that's ready to join the elite, or actually are at the elite level of men's volleyball.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of representation from the RSEQ over the years, from the Montreal Carabins, who were here and just saw them receive that award, and were the runners-up of the RSEQ this year, fell to Sherbrooke in the RSEQ championship. And certainly between Sherbrooke and Laval and Montreal, certainly 3 programs that are on notice here in the U Sports men's circuit.
Here are the All-Stars being announced right now, along with the tournament MVP. And we could look. We can name them early if you want, or we can just wait for them to be announced. Do you want to be a spoiler, or do you want to just drink in the moment?
Yeah, we'll see. Again, there's some great volleyball on display here throughout this tournament, and certainly be worthy of a number of people to receive these national championship first team All-Star awards.
So Jordan Canham, the U Sports Player of the Year, makes the All-Star team, but Alberta, they lost their last 6 sets in this tournament, and it's got to be a disappointment for the #1 team.
Certainly, and they came into the tournament as the Canada West champions, and they won the first set, dropped the first set to the Toronto Varsity Blues before winning 3 in a row. As Sam Cooper gets some recognition here for the hometown crowd, he was outstanding in the quarterfinal and the semifinal for the Marauders. Great way to end for a national bronze medal for Sam Cooper.
Yeah, bronze medal for Sam Cooper and for the McMaster Marauders. Not the color that they wanted, but they send Dave Preston, their legendary head coach, out in style as he will join the national team from Australia. Portalance, again, brilliant all weekend long. One of the best setters in Canada for the silver medal winning Sherbrooke Vert.
Yeah, he was great in this championship and had to make a number of spectacular and athletic plays to try to keep some offensive threats happening for the Sherbrooke Vert. And Portalance had a special season, getting recognized for it here as an all-star at this national championship.
The MVP, I am going to tip my hand. His last name is Elser. You have a choice of 3, though one didn't play, so you have a choice of 2. Yoann Davids, again, a tower of strength, a second-team All-Canadian, and the guy who Sherbrooke really ran their offense through a lot.
Yeah, and he was, again, somebody that was pivotal for teams to game plan for, whether it be from his attacking perspective out of the front or the back row, and from the service line as well. So Yoann David, a U Sports Tournament All-Star.
Brody Hofer said last night he loved the big crowd. He didn't care if it was against him. He thought big crowds were just fantastic for the game, and clearly he embraces the big moments.
Certainly does, and he was special in this whole tournament. He had a very, very good game yesterday against the McMaster Marauders and was just as involved in a pivotal piece for the Trinity Western Spartans here. Actually got the championship point, and now his partner from the opposite side the other left side for the Trinity Western Spartans, Jesse also getting recognized as well.
The only player who had played on this court outside of their coach, Adam Schreiber, he played for Trinity Western when they beat McMaster on this floor, and he was the mentor, the leader for the team leading into the semifinal. And here is the tournament MVP, and again, Matthias Elser, and guess what? His third year, he is not done yet.
Matthias Elser, the tournament MVP, and like we mentioned from the Trinity Western side, it could have come from a number of different guys. There was a great tournament from Rempel, great tournament from Jesse Elser, and a great tournament from Brody Hofer. But Matthias Elser was special from the minute that Trinity Western got to Hamilton. An outstanding tournament from him, well worthy of player of the game here today, and well worthy of being of a tournament MVP recognition.
He could do it all. Like he is like a Swiss Army knife, a multifaceted talent. Pick your cliche, he could do it all.
Yeah, he's, like we said, he's such a threat from set selection, set distribution, being able to attack, being able to make those athletic adjustments in tight to the net, from the service line defensively, and yeah, just keeping everybody involved and keeping his offense as a threat at all times on the floor.
Tantramar Cup is just sitting there, and you know Trinity Western is taking a little bit of a peek at it now. They want to raise it, and they want to raise it high when they get their opportunity. And again, you know, a team, you're not going to say they peaked all weekend long, really.
Certainly.
They didn't peak here in the championship game. They were outstanding all weekend long.
Yeah, continue to build for sure throughout that course. And instead of playing to a peak, they were playing optimal volleyball all the way through. To steal a line from McMaster head coach Dave Preston, always wanted to play at an optimal level and not necessarily having that peak, meaning that they've kind of eclipsed and reached that final spot and then potentially have nowhere to go but down. But yeah, Trinity continued to rise all the way through and played spectacular volleyball from start to finish, as we'll get an introduction and presentation now of the silver medals to the Sherbrooke Vert.
Trinity Western dropped one set all weekend long. That was set number one in the semifinal last night against McMaster. Sherbrooke hadn't dropped a set, and they'd swept away the Alberta Golden Bears, the number one team in the tournament last night, but the power was on display for Trinity Western. If you could pick one facet of their game that was dominant, and above all, it was the power game, whether it was kills from the left side, the right side, the pipe, or from the service line.
Yeah, it was certainly fun to watch and see just how involved they could be and how aggressive they could be. If one thing wasn't working, they were able to make those adjustments and find a mismatch somewhere along the line, and staying aggressive in all facets of the game, whether it be from the service line, whether it be on defense from a blocking perspective, being in the right spots from a defensive spot in terms of their digs and coverage. But first and foremost, just sort of a full shout out and credit goes to just how well they were swinging from anywhere on the floor, whether it be out of the back row or out of the pins in the front court or out of the middle. But again, full credit, Steve, to the performance of this tournament from the Sherbrooke Vert, especially from this individual, Johan David, who's coming to receive a national silver medal. And with a handful of these guys likely returning for Sherbrooke next season, could potentially see them at the Athletics and Recreation Center in Kingston next year, as Queen's University now becomes host of this tournament.
Outstanding job they'll do as host of the tournament, as McMaster did all weekend long. And for Fethi Abed's team, we talked about their trip to Tunisia they took during the break in between the fall and the winter season, the experiences this team had, the volleyball and non-volleyball experiences they had. They were about as tight of a team that you could get coming into this tournament, and you could tell on that media day that this was a team that had its eyes on the Tantramar Cup. Though they fell short, I'm sure there are lessons learned. This program, I have nothing but good things to say about this program.
Yeah, absolutely, and we talk about the importance of team cohesion, team building, team bonding, whatever you want to say. And they certainly have that group where it seems like everyone was playing for one another, and certainly had that build-up in terms of the team cohesion piece. And everyone we asked in terms of how they are such a cohesive group refer back to that trip to Tunisia. And again, a big character-building piece for them was transformational in terms of their experience they had as student athletes, and are rewarded for it as such with their great performance on the court, and are the national silver medalists here this season.
An slightly undersized team when you think about it. It was their resilience and really their technical prowess and their skill set that drove them through. You look at Trinity Western, a lot of guys in that 6'6" to 6'9" range. McMaster, couple guys 6'10". Alberta, I mean, this was not the biggest team, but it proves that you don't have to have the biggest, tallest, most intimidating team to be a successful volleyball team and volleyball program.
No, and they take the technical piece and apply it to the tactics. So whatever you're able to do from a technical standpoint, you apply that in to try to create mismatches and find things that you can be very good at and be the best at that maybe some other teams don't have the same luxury of having. But again, Sherbrooke, just very, very fun team to watch, and they do a lot of the things, a lot of the simple things right. And they, again, were rewarded for it all season long with a spectacular showing throughout the RSEQ conference and throughout the championship in those playoffs and as well at this national championship.
Keenan Jeppesen and Sean Burt from McMaster handing out the silver medals, by the way. There's the coach, Feti Abidi. Always seemed to have a smile on his face, and he's got one now, even in defeat. And now he's congratulating his team and getting high fives all around. The silver medalists, the Sherbrooke Vert are, but here are the gold medalists from Trinity Western, and they will be celebrating on the West Coast, no doubt. It's got to be pretty special to come and get a gold medal. And I mean, this program is used to it, but not a lot of these players are used to it. And you taste one victory, you want more, don't you?
Certainly, and that's, again, a driving force, I think, behind the Trinity Western men's volleyball program and the volleyball program in general at Trinity Western. Steve talked about the women's team competing for a national championship here as well out in British Columbia. But again, Trinity Western, one of the best programs in North America, always seem to match up very well season in, season out against some of the teams here in Canada. They match up, they play those out-of-conference exhibition games from teams from the NCAA. And again, just a spectacular team and group to watch here. And it's obviously been a tough couple of years from a volleyball standpoint, and having some of the national championships canceled a couple of years ago at the height of COVID. And then fighting back after that to have a national silver medal last year in a loss to Alberta, are now back on top of the mountain and they're tasting gold.
And remember, they came in with a loss as well, losing in 4 sets to Alberta in the Canada West final, though there's no shame in that with how deep that conference is. But again, once they touched down here, you could sense in the media time that we had with them that this team had a laser focus on one thing, and it's going to be that cup they're going to hoist in a couple minutes.
Yeah, I was certainly waiting for the elation to set in. We saw it at the end once they had actually clinched and scored the final point, and were able to celebrate with each other and celebrate with their coaching staff and the fans that are here from Trinity Western that have come down. But I think once that Tantramar trophy gets raised up into the air, that the Trinity Western fans that are here and the players are certainly going to explode and be in the moment and take in everything here and celebrate another national championship here at the Burridge Gymnasium.
The roller coaster of a tournament that Corey Schoner had. I don't think he'll mind his service woes yesterday because of his outstanding play today. And even today, he unleashed a couple booming serves that really helped Trinity Western. So
certainly did, amongst that group that creates a lot of serving pressure for Trinity Western. And even though he may have struggled from the service line yesterday in front of that McMaster crowd, he did a great job yesterday to help close out the match with his play at the net with his blocking, and that was certainly a presence here today. The blocking and the attacking, and then getting some of those hard, aggressive serves back in his arsenal was huge for Trinity today.
Key situational server Anselm Rhein from Germany. Some of the other players that did not dress. This is Tyson Hofer, the younger brother of Brody Hofer. One more Hofer likely to come. There is the third Elser brother as well. Coaching staff and support staff, the unsung heroes of any elite sporting venture.
Assistant coach, Kaden Gamache.
Assistant coaches now being celebrated.
Assistant coach, Jordan Orr.
Jordan Orr.
Assistant Coach Joel Jensen.
And Adam Schreiber, an interesting guy to talk to all weekend long. Ben Ball, who is the co-head coach. Adam Schreiber, the more verbal, vocal one. And again, a star player was Adam Schreiber. And listen to the roar. They love this guy.
Yeah, players coach to say the least, and Schreiber has been a face of this program since his playing days and has carried that over into being one of the coaches here for this team. And his career actually, Steve, ended in a national championship loss here at McMaster to the UBC Thunderbirds. So the sense of redemption for Adam Schreiber as well.
Young guy as well, under 30 years of age, and now he's a national champion as a coach. There's one more important piece of business to deal with, and it's that beautiful trophy that will be presented to the Trinity Western University Spartans. The Tantramar Cup. And it really is an outstanding looking trophy as well.
Trophy and the banner here to be presented to the captains of the Trinity Western Spartans. And after a few snaps of the lens, Steve, I'm sure that this group is again ready to celebrate, and will be likely celebrating late into the evening and all the way back to Langley.
So Keenan Jefferson will present the U Sports Championship banner and the Tantramar Championship trophy. Great coverage all weekend long on CBC Sports. Outstanding Matthew Davison with the play-by-play. Pleasure working with you, our French language counterparts as well. And really such a great tournament to be a part of. And
Certainly.
great to be here in person as well.
Yeah, it certainly has been. And from the logistical standpoint, organizationally, all the volunteers and everyone making this production what it has been. But obviously the volleyball, it takes care of all the rest of it. And it's been an outstanding tournament to see here as we get Jesse Elser and Brody Hofer upcoming to get the banner and trophy. And like we said, after a few snaps of the lens here, I'm sure the group is ready to pile on and celebrate here at the Burge Gymnasium.
The safest hands you could put a trophy and a championship banner into, Jesse Elser and Brody Hofer, the unquestioned stars of a team that is full of talent. Not much more you can really say, is there?
Couple final scenes here, Steve. It's great to see Trinity Western celebrating a national championship here, and they are back on top of the U Sports Volleyball Mountain. And again, a great tournament overall for them, as they'll likely do a couple passings of the Tantramar Trophy here. And again, one last sign up perhaps as well, Steve, of Sherbrooke taking some pictures and embracing as well with the national silver medal. And I'm sure we'll see a handful of these teams as again we transition to the host Queen's University, who will take over next year and will be hosting for the 2024 Men's Volleyball National Championships in Kingston.
Congratulations to all the teams here, particularly Trinity Western and Sherbrooke. Trinity Western could take those singing voices to the Glee Club Championship a little bit later on as they will celebrate. Thank you to McMaster University and everybody here with the production right here at the Burge Gymnasium. Great coverage, great visuals all evening long. For Kyle Campo, I'm Steve Clark. Good evening from McMaster, CBC Sports.